smash your bass bins, I'm telling you.
Hello everybody and welcome to round 5 of the CRS Formula 1 2009 Championship. Here we are then at Barcelona, one of the official tracks of the series, a Kunos content track, and as you can see things are really spicing up in the grid at the moment. Drivers are closer than ever before and this is most likely going to be one of the more entertaining races of the league so far.
So I'm also going to be joining you throughout this race. Let's move on to the track, and what it's really well known for is how long it's been in F1 history. I mean, it's been here since pretty much 1991, and it's basically been non-stop, and it's a track that everyone knows, and probably everyone knows off by. It is one of Europe's busiest tracks, and it's host to high-profile rounds of Formula 1 and MotoGP, and it's becoming the seasonal winter home of the F1 teams as they test new cars and drivers. It's really a mix of fast and slow corners, a long straight and a variety of elevation changes. As a result, it's popular with many of the drivers and spectators as well. The track is roughly about 4.5 kilometers. It contains 16 corners, which are mostly right-handed, putting a lot of emphasis on the front left tyre in particular. This will be interesting to see how the teams take that, especially with the tyre wear proving quite a big problem for many of the drivers in the past. The rear tyres, though, as well, going to have to take plenty of stress in order to find the combined traction that is needed coming out the slower corners in the final section of the lap. It's going to be quite an interesting race, really, this one. Not too much difference between some of the top drivers. And of course we have the championship standings to look back on, with both the Ferraris still being in first place, but Fapster and his Toyota not being overly too far behind, just 1.5 points behind for the blank in the Ferrari.
So this race promises to be something to really remember. Round 5, we are roughly around a third the way through the league at this point. and everyone's sort of figuring it out, if that makes sense. We've got a lot of drivers who were a bit far off at the start, really bringing it back now. We're going to have a look at Blank then for his first flying lap. I believe he is going to be one of the first cars round on the track. He's closely followed by one of the Brawn cars, which I believe is going to be a Sedo Drifter. But as you were saying, Joseph, regarding the tyre wear, drivers have been complaining of rather excessive tyre wear, especially on the right-hand side. Now, if you really do think about it, there are quite a lot of fast right-hand corners on this track, but the right side especially, imagine, I think it's like turn 3, that's going to be very hard on the left. Oh, as Blank hits the inside curb, that's going to be him round, and he jumps it straight back to the pit lane. So we see No Fridge and the BMW of Adam Appleseed drive past. Let's get on board with him now. Apparently he's still on an outlap, as one of the Red Bulls has ran wide into the first corner. But
I think that's Rio. He just clipped the edge of the curb.
So what are you... It's happening again, isn't it? The delay in the chat. Oh dear. But it's good to see. As a Sedo Drifter goes pole currently with a 119.3. Not sure what the other drivers are going to be setting. I am coming into this a little bit blind, I'll be honest, but I'm pretty sure some guys did manage to get down into the 18s.
Yeah, I'm not really entirely sure what the perfect lap times are. I haven't been sitting through quite a bit of qualifying, but just looking from some of the drivers already, it looks like it's going to be consistency really and not lap times. As we can see, drivers spinning quite a few standard corners up to the first corner and turn at 11 and 12.
Jaden here on an outlap, well he was, not on an outlap, on a flying lap he was, but he's clipped the curb, and we all know what happens with curbs on this track. It's not necessarily ideal, as we're currently on board with Rio Sec then. He's found 3.6 seconds over his previous time, which would put him P4, but he's gone straight on, so probably abandoning this lap. Maybe he went off earlier, and he's now just recovering round or trying to build a little bit of space to the next car on. We're going to up the bit rate. Oh.
A Sedo Drifter with another faster time, 1 minute 18.7. It's going to put him very close to the front really, considering some of the previous lap times we've seen from qualifying.
The quality has been boosted, Spanner, don't you worry. We're now running a bit higher bit rate, roughly around double of what we were beforehand. So hopefully that makes the image look a little bit better. As Rio's ran it pretty deep into the first corner. But we've lost his time telemetry. His K2 has set a lap, which is currently 5.1 seconds down, which is not where he wants to be. But of course we still have got 20 minutes left of this session, where we should see all of the drivers really improving on their times.
Oh, Blank there, just going off from turn 10. It's looking a time of about 1 minute 20. Not enough to challenge the Sedo Drifter, but certainly a strong time compared to some of the other drivers. I mean, it's going to be another look at Ferrari again, see if they can hold their podium victories, as they've just secured podium every single race so far. Yeah, it's only been once where Blank hasn't managed to finish it. Oh, sorry, twice.
That was due to connection issues, I believe, though. We're going to lower the bit rate back down, as it's causing a bit of ping issues. Sorry about the quality. There's nothing I can do. It should be able to do a lot better than this, but that clearly doesn't seem to be the case. Currently running around 124 ping on my end, which is pretty much borderline for streaming. But lowering the bitrate down should hopefully help with that a little bit, as we're now down back into the 110s, which is roughly where we want to be. Jaden's on a pretty good lap at the moment. He's 1.6 seconds up, but he's found a curb, and that's him round. Curbs are going to play a rather big factor in today's race. His K2's currently stuck. Oh. K2,
yeah, the curbs really are quite a bit.
For God's sake. K2 was currently stuck behind a bit of traffic, but No Fridge takes second position then with a 1:21.2. 2.5 seconds down off the pole time at the moment, but don't forget No Fridge is on a controller, as you can probably tell with his steering input. However, he's a very quick guy. He's already found 2 tenths on that time. And we know that if a Assetto Drifter does stay pole, he is in the brawn of course, it would be rather suiting. That 2.5 seconds are usually what covers most of the field. So No Fridge should get a pretty solid time out of that.
See, going further up through turn 8, he's 0.2 seconds up, which I think will put his lap time at a 1:21.5. It's going to be a strong third in front of K2. It really looks like Blank's struggling on this track. He can't set just 1 lap time so far.
It's issues with the curbs I think everybody's having, which is rather unfortunate. However, it's going to be one of those things where people have just got to improvise, adapt and overcome. As Blank does finally set in a lap after 7 minutes off the session, but it's 16 seconds slower than anybody else. But Appleseed goes third. Good solid lap there from him. So we're just waiting on the other drivers then to bring in their laps.
Assetto Drifter again, oh sorry, but also Rio coming into second with a 1:19.9, 1.2 seconds slower than Assetto Drifter. But Assetto Drifter again going for a faster lap time as he messes up on turn 9. That was going to be 0.2 seconds quicker and just moving him further away from the other drivers.
As we see No Fridge round turn, whatever one of them, 5 or 6 I think, 4 maybe. He's found a bit of time on his lap. He's currently 1.5 tenths up, which is pretty respectable. He's definitely losing time though through that corner. Whatever he did on his flying lap, he can't seem to replicate it. But he's putting in a pretty solid performance so far, considering he's on a controller. Really outdoing people on the wheel as well, which is very good to see from him.
Yes, it's surprising the amount of skill that he does have, and he's pretty much, he looked like a solid driver through the whole of qualifying. He's not really had any problems.
That's very true.
And of course, this looks like it's probably going to be an upset for both the Toyotas and the Ferraris, as they're really lacking behind compared to the other cars.
I'm sure we'll see Jaden put in a very solid lap later, as No Fridge managed to go 4 tenths quicker that time round. Rio also goes quicker as well by the looks of things, bringing it down to a 1:19.1, which only puts him 3 tenths down off of that pole time. Of course, we say that about No Fridge, who immediately spins around the next corner. Rio's run wide, but not sure if that's going to invalidate his time. He did find 2 tenths. He's not going to find 2 tenths in the gravel though.
Certainly not. No one at the moment on a very fast lap. The one bit being still on there, well, still on a flying lap is Adam Appleseed, and it's showing me 1.5 seconds down, but I don't quite believe it. It's not changing.
Blank has just come onto his lap, and he's pretty much equal with his previous. He is about 2 tenths down now, but he was looking pretty solid through the first corner. Let's see if he can bring it back. Of course, he's got whatever it is, a 1 minute. What's that going to be? 34 to beat, which I reckon he'll be able to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say that.
Maybe
he locks
not.
up. Maybe not.
Not really having the best of chances on this track.
No.
Jaden, though, he's starting his flying lap as well, and we'll see if he can actually set a lap, because we've seen him crash off quite a few times.
Let's see if we can find Jaden, because he hasn't set a lap yet. He's found 1.4 seconds over whatever his previous time was. Seems to be a 2:03. So maybe this race will be a massive upset to the usual field. There's lots of people having issues with that.
Turn 5. Downhill corner into the left hand. I guess it's upsetting the balance, and as you've just been through all the left hand curves, the right hand tyre is just going to be cold, so you're going onto them. You're just going to.
You know what I'm going to say, don't you, Joseph? That is true. As here we see K2 then, he's 3.5 seconds up on his time currently, with 13 minutes left of the qualifying session to go. And clearly not everyone's managed to get a lap in at this point. There are only 7 valid laps. I'm not sure how many drivers are on the server, but it'll be interesting to find that out if we can. As Discord chat's going off on a little bit. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore that because someone can't read. K2's found 5 seconds.
Adam Appleseed almost a second up. He's 0.8 seconds up so far as he comes around and turned.
It'll be interesting to see what K2 can do. He goes up in a second with a 119 flat. Let's get on board with Appleseed then.
Coming around the chicanes.
This lap should put him up in a 4th if he manages to keep it together, which he has. Pretty solid lap then from Appleseed.
Does a 1 minute 20. Still not enough to come third, but it's certainly put him way ahead of everyone else, and this could be one of his best performances of the season.
That is true. Of course, we're still going to wait for laps from people such as Jaden, Fapster we haven't seen anything from, or a solid flying lap from Blank, and those 3 guys, if they get one in, could really upset the way that the grid's going to go. Jaden does manage to finally set a lap in, but it's 45 seconds off the pace, so not particularly sure what's going on with him at the moment. But Appleseed's
turn 15. He's going to be faster again.
He is. He's going to find another 2.5 temps, which is not going to please K2 or Rio, but this is just how a solo drifter is. Some tracks he's absolutely on fire. I remember back in the F188 League at Imola, he was just as fast as the top guys in there, and this is just what he's shown today. He's being just as quick as the top guys. Maybe this is just a track that suits him. Not 100% sure. Randy!
7th place.
Randy goes in the P7.
That's a very good performance considering how he's done in previous events, and he's really not far off the other drivers.
Solid
so we might
performance
actually be able to see him racing properly.
Blank manages to set a lap in then, a 119 flat, which is not too bad. It's going to put him in 3rd position, as a Seller Drifter has now abandoned his. Rio was a little bit up on his time, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore, as he got a pretty sloppy exit, maybe just ran it too deep into the corner. But we'll see how it goes as he comes round into the last little chicane. How good of an exit is he going to get? It's going to be better than his previous one. And this lap will maybe put him up into 3rd if he can keep it all together, which it has done indeed.
Yeah, very strong lap from him. Separating the Ferraris as well, putting one of them out of the podium, and it's really just not Blank's race today, well, qualifying section at least. He's just having all around the circuit, really.
As Appleseed is disconnected.
I'm sure he'll be pretty soon.
Sure he'll rejoin.
Still not too many people setting lap times, considering there are 10 drivers. At least I think there's 10. We're still missing out on 2 people.
Well, really, we're missing out on the other 10, but we're going to ignore that. As Appleseed joins back, gets his 5th position spot that he rightfully earned, and there's 10 minutes left of the session from now. So it will be down to Jaden. He's found 1.6 seconds in this lap. And what he's got to find is a 118.4, so he's got to find 45.5 seconds if he wants to get the P1 time, which he's more than capable of doing, as I'm sure he'll find some way to cheat his way through to the top. Missing the apex completely there.
K2 may be on a threatening lap to assess a drifter. He's 2 tenths up so far as he comes to turn 10. We'll just have to see. He loses a little bit there. And again there over the curves. Ferrari's really struggling over the curves and the changes in gradient here. I think their setup just isn't up to par with the Brawn.
Jaden got stuck behind Fapster then, coming out of the last chicane, and that's going to mean Jaden's going to lose a fair bit of time. So Fapster goes into 5th position, Jaden goes up into 8th, but we all saw that Jaden's lap would have probably been about 1.5 seconds quicker if he had the space. K2 did go quicker by a couple temps, but it's not enough to get that pole position. I'm not sure who's left to set a lap at this moment in time.
Not entirely sure. That may be everyone, but it says I'm number 12, so I'm last, so I think there's one more person to set a lap.
Me.
Oh yes, it would, wouldn't it? So that is everyone setting their lap.
So, at least everyone's set a lap. I'm eating some Tesco sausage rolls, which are rather nice, I'll be honest.
Right.
Lovely.
Jaden, again, he is up on his time. 2/10 as he comes around turn 11. It's going to push him a bit further up, but we'll have to see how much time he lose. Who's that going very wide out there? Rio.
Probably just getting out of the way of Jaden.
He's on the previous corner as well. K2 makes a mistake around turn 14, 15. Jaden, here we go, crossing the line. 4th.
It's good to see that the top
Amazing.
5 guys are in half a second of each other, so it should be a pretty entertaining race.
Oh, Fapster again making another mistake. It is just his outlet. Not too. Yeah, most people are on their outlaps at the moment. Rio, though,
Laps
like
obviously
giving up.
bugged.
Gone.
Sorry that I'm constantly flicking, just trying to find someone at the moment. K-Man might have been on a lap, but he got held up by one of the Ferraris. It's a bit unfortunate to see, as he's abandoned his lap, maybe just trying to get out of the way of someone. He goes round then. Blank's not on a lap. Fapster's 2 temps up though, through the first corners. This could be a promising lap from him. This would put him up into 3rd position if he keeps this lap.
Very fast lap from him. I guess the Toyoters still do have it, but Braun from a Saturn drifter is simply incredible. I mean, he is really quite far back in the points. I can actually just pull them up.
The Ferrari guys have
one
really
and a
run
half
away.
points.
Oh. Don't worry, let's go.
Yeah, so so far, the Saturn drifter hasn't actually finished in the points yet. So qualifying in so far provisional pole is pretty incredible change.
It is indeed. Now, I retract my statement of saying that Fapster could get P3 with this lap. I thought we were on board with Jaden, but this lap is nonetheless, it will bring him closer to the back of P5. Actually, it might actually get him. It's going to be very close. The top 6 now, pretty much within half a second of each other. So this is going to be a very interesting race if everyone can make it through cleanly. Appleseed currently on an outlap. K-Man also on an outlap, and Randy's in the pit lane. K2's found a 10th on his time, and this could put him up to P2 if he continues
Blank,
it.
I think will just about take 4th. I mean, they are, what's that, 0.00...
Ah, we'll go second.
6 so far behind 4th.
Blank goes up into second then.
Second.
And K2 at this rate is also going to go up into second, maybe even provisional
K2
pole.
first.
Well, he's got a couple corners left, we'll see what happens. But at this rate, it's looking like provisional pole for K2. A very sloppy exit though. Could this cost him the lap? It's going to be very close. Like... It's going to be very, very close indeed.
It's not enough.
Not enough for pole. 2 thousandths of a second to first place. Very unfortunate for K2, but I'm sure the solo drifter is going to be loving that. Oh, as he pushes it a little bit too hard, and that's going to be him around.
Let's be honest, K2 probably isn't even badly close, and I've not seen that anywhere so close before. It's only really in touring car you can see times like that.
Yeah. Fapster's doing a bit of rallycross at the moment. Appleseed's on an outlap. K-Man's just started his lap. Let's see what he can do. He's currently 5.8 seconds off of the pole, but he's showing up to every race and he's putting more than enough practice laps in to keep us all satisfied here. He might as well just do the practice laps for everyone, as with the time he's really putting into this, you've really got to give it to him. It's a shame that he is so far down off the grid, but it's good to see that he's putting in the amount of laps that he is, the amount of practice, and he's found 2 temps in the first couple corners.
You may just find that simply the P-Man, it's setup that he's struggling with, because he's shown quite a lot that he's a very good driver. We don't know how he is on setup.
That's true,
and
yeah.
It could just be that, tipping it over the edge, and that's what that's what's causing him to be so far behind. But he is a second up already. It's going to move him closer to 8th. It won't be close enough to take any more position.
He did have a very sloppy exit out of turn number 7, and he still gained a second and a half. Sorry, I elongated my words there. I had to work out which corner it actually was. But he got a very sloppy exit out of there. He has lost a bit of time back down now, but it's going to be a fairly clean exit, and this lap should put him closer to P8, which is no fridge in McLaren. He sets a 123.3.
Napster's going to move up on the leaderboard.
He is indeed.
Taking it away from Jaden, as Jaden smashes into a wall and resets the pits.
That doesn't surprise me at all. K2's found a 10th.
Oh, will this be enough? It's going to be really close on his time again. He's pretty much equal to the last lap.
We saw how much of a sloppy exit he got out of the last hairpin, so it'll be interesting to see if he can gain it back this time round, if he gets a better one. So all he's got to do is just hold his time. He hasn't got to find any, which is what he's tried to do, and it's cost him 4 temps. I doubt he's going to gain that back. So let's have a look at the Shadow Drifter. He's about 2 temps down on his personal best as well. Back to K2, who's abandoned his lap. Rio is on an out lap, and he's closely following to the back of what seems to be one of the McLarens. Not no fridge, it would be Randy. Maybe not, maybe it wasn't a McLaren. Perhaps my eyes deceive me, but a whole cluster of cars near the front end of the grids running around together as Randy runs it out wide, and that's going to be him into the wall. Blank runs past then. Hope the bandwidth will settle down. It seems to be a bit all over the place at the moment. Nothing I can control, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, really looking at it, it's about, it's 1 minute 20 left. So it's going to be basically, you leave the pits down, that's going to be your flying lap, your last lap. So anyone in the pit is basically got no chance of setting a new lap. So that's going to be it for Randy. Maybe. Actually, no, Randy's heading out. We'll see if he can just sneak in a lap time, but I doubt it.
Doubt he will be.
It's gonna be it for K-Man, No Fridge, and Fapster, as they are. I don't think Randy's gonna be able to check out, well, be able to set a lap time, so it's really looking like place 10 settle. So it's really people on their flying lap now, and if they can maybe get in one more, but we're not going to see any more after that. Adam Appleseed, though, second.
I think K2's probably going to be the last person on the new lap. Sorry about my bandwidth, as K2 abandons it. So this is probably going to be everyone's last lap, unless whoever's coming into the hairpin now can make it through. Adam Appleseed, he's got 26 seconds. I don't think he's going to have enough time to get around and set another lap. My internet is all over the place right now.
Mine's at about 82.
Mine's all over the place. It's more my ping than anything.
Is he going to be able to set another lap?
It's going to be very tight. He'll have one more go. He will indeed. He does.
Jaden, though, he's 2 tenths up. He won't be able to set another lap time, but that's going to move him up into 5th. 4th.
Solid lap there from him. Who I'm not sure who the 2 guys coming into the last corner are. It's No Fridge.
Randy and Rio.
It is Randy and Rio.
Blank is very slightly up, but not enough. And that's going to be it for qualifying.
That's going to be it then for qualifying. So, our order goes. A Shadow Drifter with the pole. A very solid lap there from him. K2 unable to find those final thousandths of a second to take it up to P1 either. So that's him in P2. Blank in P3, 1/10 off of the pole. Jaden P4 with 118.7, that's 2 temps down. Rio, 3 temps down. Fapster, 4 temps down. Have I missed somebody out? No, I haven't. Appleseed next along, he's 2 seconds off the pole. Closely followed by No Fridge, he's 2.5. Then K-Man in the first of the Forced Indias, 4.9 seconds off of that pole time. And Randy in 10th, 6.021 off of the pole. But we all know what can happen, and with a very interesting first corner like Catalonia does have, it will be interesting to see how everyone, if they can anyway, make it through. So let's get on board with Jaden for our start. Remember to return back to pit, mate.
Yeah, I have to do it again still as soon as the lights go out.
Not sure who I was on before. Maybe let's go with Adam. Let's go with Adam at the start. See if he can make any places up.
My ping is currently 2,600, so that's going to be an interesting
lovely.
start for me.
Lovely jubbly. Mine's still running around the 150 mark. We've got 20 seconds until the start now. So we should probably go with an onboard, as it will give us a better idea of what's going on. Adam's raring to go. The lights aren't even on and he's already redlining. Here we go then, round 5 of the Formula 1 2009 CRS Championship is go! A very quick reaction time from Adam. Everyone's got cleanly away at the front. A very shoddy start from Blank. Please don't go 4 wide into the first corner. So they all come down then. Is the camera going to switch over in time? No, it's not. We're going to get a very shoddy angle. The two Ferraris are side by side. Rio's run off and taken out a Cello Drifter. Not sure where Rio is. The two Toyotas are off in the background, and I reckon that's going to be enough for a safety car. A Cello Drifter running third then. K2 and Blank running P1 and 2. The two Ferrari boys. Please type safety car out in the chat. Let's see what's going on further down the grid. We've got K-Man in the Force India. He's gone up the 6th position. So he's being closely followed by Randy and one of the Toyotas of Fapster. He's going to have a look down the inside. Randy and K-Man are going to make contacts. Can Fapster take advantage of that coming into the next corner? That does not seem to be the case, but I'm going to jump in my rig. And probably I should move my keyboard over as well. Right, I'm coming out now. Sorry for... oh, this is F4, isn't it?
You need to go.
Yep. Don't you worry.
Fapster taking position. K-Man losing another one to Rand. That's fine, they've just crossed the finish line. Right, so that's everyone in position. So it's looking like it's a good start from K2 and Blank. A Cello Drifter losing his 2 positions from the start. Adam Appleseed making an absolutely phenomenal start really there. Come up from, what was it, 7th or 8th, all the way up to 4th. No Fridge and Randy also moving up. Rio, of course, and Jaden having the collision have moved them right down to the back. Looks like it really has been a mix-up at the start, but it's been a brilliant mix-up for the Ferraris. As we said, this could be an upsetter for them, but I guess not. Okay. Okay. Right, so we're just going to watch as all the cars try and keep the tyres warm, although this corner really doesn't have too many straights, so we won't be seeing much of the wheel. Rio all the way in the back, just straight lining it, as Jaden really takes his car from side to side. Ooh, interesting. Down in turn 10, almost an overtake there, as Randy has to slow down to let K-Man back past. Yeah, it's really going to be difficult for the drivers. Are they going to pit now, or are they going to wait a bit? Because it's really still the start of the race, and a pit now could be... Right, okay, Randy's been spun round, he's facing backwards. Okay, so that's Randy round. I guess everyone's sort of waiting for him, both Rio and Jaden. I think they're going to let him back past in a minute. We'll just have to see what happens. Should we stay safety car in this lap? Right, so everyone keeping themselves hopefully clean. I don't think Randy's going to be able to take back the places. considering he got spun round. We'll just have to see as he catches up to the back of the field. There he is. No, I don't think anyone will be pitting, because I mean it is just lap 1. Well, sorry, we're on lap 3 now, but it's a very long... We've got 33 laps in total, and so people, most likely, especially those on mediums, won't be pitting to about lap 15. So, as we come round into turn 9, I believe, we're going to see... Yeah, K-Man, I think, it's just spun. He didn't spin far, but it's enough to lose out to Randy. Ooh, slippery from the safety car. Keep it slow so you don't spin. Okay, so here we go. Safety car's in. As we watch as K2 crosses the start-finish line, Blank no for its move, losing position. He spun on the final corner. K2 having a very strong lead from the other cars. Everyone's still got quite a lot of room between them. K2 really getting a good jump there at the start. Jaden managed to overtake Fapster. Who's that? Fapster out into the back. Rio as well, side by side with Randy managed to keep the position. Fapster right back now. Assessor Drifter up into second, but it looks like he's spun. He's let everyone pass. That could be a penalty from him. Blank as well going.
Blank stops. Perhaps he had a penalty.
And there's
Appleseed's running in second. I don't want to bring out the safety car again, but since everyone got mildly messed up, should we do it?
Can do.
Yeah, bring it out, why not?
You're gonna have to go quick.
Yeah, I know where I came out last time, got out ahead. Why not? If it bunches everybody back up, then...
Right. Randy so far being 17 seconds down, so the safety car comes out for the second time, meaning there's only been about 2 laps of racing. K2, solid start from last time. Safety car just appears out of the pit exit as K2 crosses the line. Yeah, it looks like Randy has spun again. He's heading into the pits. Either that's going to be a retirement from him or it's going to be tyre change. K-Man's got a lot of catching up to do. So safety car in this lap then. Oh yeah, Randy's heading back out of the pits now, so we'll be continuing. So far from the first safety car, K2 keeping a very strong lead. Blank and Rio and Assessor Drifter really losing quite a few positions. So it's going to be K2, Appleseed, Jaden, Assessor Drifter, Blank, Rio, No Fridge, Fatster, K-Man and Randy rounding it out. Randy's got a little bit of catching up to do, but he's only on turn 4, so it's not too far. As everyone's weaving again, seeing if they can keep their tyres warm. So far only one person's pitted, and that's Randy for a change of tyres. Safety car coming round turn 11. Sorry, turn 10, and now turn 11. Randy being on the start of the straight from turn 9. We're going to have to see again. Yeah, it should just be enough from him. Everyone getting very close now. It looks like K2's going to start dropping off. And see if he can get another strong start away from the mayhem. So, safety car. Okay, that's the safety car in. Everyone goes into the green. As K2 crosses. Jaden making overtake, but he's getting overtaken again. Appleseed Not sure what's happening there. Jaden doing a large dive bomb to the brawn, sorry. Fapster losing out position to No Fridge. Who's that who goes wide? I think that's almost stops on the side of the circuit. Jaden.
Rio's running out wide. Jaden's having a look for the inside of the BMW, but that's messed him up, and now Blank's looking for his outside by the looks of things, which is the case, but he's not going to be able to get a manoeuvre done. We'll definitely look into a Cellar Drifter and Jaden overtaking before the start-finish lines. I made that very apparent in Shanghai, but if they still haven't made note of that now, then it's got to be punishable. As Fapster has overtaken No Fridge.
Looks like No Fridge making a small mistake there. Cellar Drifter really getting a good start. That was probably from what could be a jump start, depending on what gets determined. That's moved him back up into second. Appleseed is third. He's doing exceptionally. He's just keeping himself clean. I think that would probably be enough for quite a lot of the race, is just to keep yourself clean and out of trouble. Still, everyone really quite bunched up. 5 seconds between the top 6.
Jaden's chucked it in the pits. Not sure why he pitted now.
I don't think that was intentional. I think that was just a wheel spin. Well, we'll have to see if he does just go for tyres.
Interesting strategy there from Jaden. We are, of course, well, not really a third through the race. If you were running softs, lap 7 would probably be around the time that they'd come off. And
K-Man being overtaken by Rio. Rio really not having the greatest of time on this track. It looks like he's slipping around quite a bit. K-Man's really putting on the pressure if he can keep up most of the time. K2 though really keeping that strong lead, and it may just be a runaway situation for him, but he is on softs, and so is Appleseed by the looks of it. I can't tell about Accessory, but they probably will be pitting pretty soon.
I reckon that will be the case. So your current running order is K2 in first, who's really running away with it at the moment. 3 seconds up the road from a Cellar Drifter in the Brawn. Closely followed by Adam Appleseed. Brilliant drive from him so far in third. Blank not too far behind, closing him in corner by corner. Maybe we'll be able to catch him up and overtake in the next couple laps as K2 sets a new fastest lap for 20.7. And we can see everyone's about a second to half a second off that. Look at that Ferrari pull the BMW in a straight line, bouncing off the rev limiter. The Ferrari's got a lot more straight line speed than that BMW has. Maybe Adam's running a bit more wing in it. We'll soon find out.
The Ferraris really always have been fast cars, especially looking back at China, when they could just make leaps and bounds on the straight. But it looks like they're suffering from it in some of the sharper corners, as Adam Appleseed can just quite a lot of the time get the better exit.
Adam really is putting in a strong performance at this track. He's just got to keep it consistent as Randy overtakes Rio again, so maybe Rio made a mistake. Interesting to see what happens there.
Both Randy and Rio have been making quite a few mistakes, and it's just sort of led to a almost cat and mouse.
Blank was looking down the inside of Adam, but there's no room there, and because of all this, Fapster's now looking down the inside of Blank. He's going to push him right out of the way, but Fapster's round on the power too early. Unfortunate there from Fapster. Let's get back on board with Blank then. If he'd just been a little bit more patient, maybe Fapster could have got it. As Appleseed's coming into the pits then. Lap 9.
So that'll be the soft tyres then, forcing people into the pits. Blank on mediums, of course. So he's got a long way left until he gets rid of those. K2 though is also on soft, so we'll have to see when he manages to pit.
I've got to say, a brilliant save that we just caught from No Fridge coming out the last corner. It was like the car was about to go round, but he managed to control it on the brake and bring it back into a straight line. So a very good bit of driving there from No Fridge, especially on a controller. Appleseed's still in his pit lane then, he's just come out. Jaden will of course overtake him, but he's not too far up the road compared to Adam, so it'll be interesting to see where everyone comes out once they've done...
crashing. That's K-Man very, very slow out of turn 2. I think he went into the gravel there. Jaden's going to be right behind him now.
Of course, Jaden's just going to want to try get past him as soon as possible. So, of course, he's not going to get held up, as K-Man's just going to let Jaden go past. or he was diving to the inside to defend and maybe just got on the brakes a little bit too early. But looking at it, it's going to be around a 30-second pit, I reckon. Something like that. High 20s on the pit. It will be interesting to see where everyone comes out. It's K2 sets a new fastest lap then. Rio and Rio and Randy, sorry, running pretty close. No Fridge up in 5th position at this point, so a good solid drive there from him.
Rio again making another mistake because he wasn't that far behind No Fridge, and now he's just dropped down again into 7th. K-Man, I think he's spun again. He's basically almost stopped. Turn 12 and Appleseed is taking back his position. Although Adam's going quite wide. Did I just see someone go into the pits? No. Okay. But No Fridge is catching up to Fapster. Just 4 seconds between the two.
That'll be interesting to see then if those two can get into a battle later on in the race, but for the time being we're going to focus on Rio and Randy. So these two guys are the closest at the moment. They seem to be Rio seems to be pulling them in one lap and then Randy pulls away in the next. So hopefully they can get a little bit closer as Appleseed overtakes Jaden. Jaden's crashed, Jaden's gone round, not sure if there was contact there. But either way, not a good race from Jaden. He's not having very good luck at all. So this race is really going to throw things up in the mix. But once again, it's those two Ferraris at the front of the field.
It really is. But then we've got a new competitor, Recessor Drifter, considering he's not actually scored points before, and now he's just going to go straight for a podium if he can keep it up at his current rate. I still don't know what tyres he's on, as he's been in 2nd place for quite a while. But he's got Blank keeping up the pressure from behind, even though it's 2 seconds behind. He's going to see him in the rearview mirror, and he's just going to be seeing that Ferrari edging closer and closer, especially down the straight. K2 though, still on the softs, still out in front.
Randy and Rio running very similar lap times at the moment. There are only 0.02 of a second between those two last times. Rio running it a little bit too deep into the corner, but it's good to see how Randy's driving the car, and also Rio, is he running a little bit wide. Not sure if there's going to be a penalty for him there, but for some reason the tyres out having a bit of a issue on this track, let's call it, where it's giving people penalties incorrectly. But Blank's now only 1.5 seconds behind a Cellar Drifter, but there's also somebody very close. Further back, oh no, that's Rio and Randy. My bad, is there... Actually, no, don't worry about it. I was having a moment. Yeah. Someone comes into the pit lane, K2, on lap 12, so we should probably see Blank pit in the next couple laps, as we expect them to run the same sort of strategy.
Blank's on medium. It's going to again be a repeat from bar rate, where both of them had different tyre strategies. It sort of shows once we got to the end where they were battling pretty close between each other. Fapster as well into the pit.
Fapster into the pit at a very awkward angle, taking out some cones in the process. Where he's going to come out? He's going to come out behind Rio. Adams must have span out the last chicane. Now Jaden's right with him, going to chuck it round the outside. No contact made there, but is Adam going to fight back? They're very close. Adam's got more straight line speed.
Oh. No, he doesn't go for the dive bomb. Keeps it clean. Rio and Fapster. Rio losing time again. He's very through that turn 3. You always see him mixing slow, so I'm wondering if he just keeps messing up on turn 2.
Not sure how Rio's lost 11 seconds. Must have missed that, as I don't think he pitted.
No.
Sorry for the internet at the moment, whoever's watching the stream. It's not the greatest recently. Not
Blank into the pits.
Blank comes into the pits then, so likelihood is, he gets a massive lock-up from just speeding in the pit lane, so instead of course it slows him down by locking up all of his wheels. It'll be interesting to see where KT is going to come out in reference. By the looks of things, it's going to be miles ahead of Blank, as Blank hasn't even stopped in his pit box yet. Cellar Drift is miles ahead, but he hasn't pitted yet. So K2 goes up into 2nd place rightfully. Blank's coming out the pits. No Fridge is going to get out ahead of Blank. I don't think No Fridge is pitted yet. Randy comes into the pits as well. Fapster's not going to be close enough. But Blank and No Fridge, the position has been made up. Jaden got past Rio as well, as Rio comes into the pit lane. So it's
I have to say, oh, here comes everyone into the pit, really.
Everybody into the pit then.
Diving in. K2 now on mediums, as is Assetto Drifter. So I wonder if Assetto Drifter's sticking to 2 mediums, and then K2's going a soft start, and then medium for the rest of the race. Just have to see how they can manage their tyres. No Fridge, although he's just spun, he's doing exceptional, 4th place, and still on the controller. And he's beating quite a lot of people out.
That is true. Unfortunately, Adam's somehow now 44 seconds down. We thought he would jump people in the pit stop, but all the leaders have really pitted at this point, and he's nowhere near. As Assetto Drifter comes into the pit then, K2's most likely going to get the jump on him, but it's going to be where Blank comes out in perspective of that. Assetto Drifter's just coming into his pit box now, a very sharp entry angle. Depending on how long Assetto Drifter's in the pit lane for, he's not going to get out ahead of Blank.
Got it.
Blank's got the position. What about No Fridge? No Fridge comes into the pits. Fapster's not going to be a threat to Assetto Drifter at this point, I don't believe. So we see Fapster there in the background. Not going to be a threat. So Assetto Drifter still in a podium position at this halfway point in the race.
I mean, the pit stop here, it's so long because the pit itself is just a kilometre, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about, especially with some of the other circuits that we've been on. But this has led to really long pit stops, and you see a massive gap, and that's mainly just because someone's pitted. And it's really quite a long time for them to drive all the way to the end on their pit limiter, bouncing off it, trying to edge their car faster as they go along, as all the people behind them catch up by, like, it's just, what, 30 seconds you said earlier, which is an exceptional amount of time.
It is indeed, and there was a tactic used as Jaden and Fapster are very close actually, so let's get eyes on them. There was a tactic used by somebody in round 1 who I'm not going to name and shame, but their way of getting quicker through the pit lane was to clutch kick, so their car would go up to about 83 kilometers an hour for a split second. So they were trying to gain time through that, but I did quickly pick up on it and told them, naughty naughty, no. So that stopped, but luckily none of the other drivers are aware of that. And I don't think these guys would be the ones to try and cheat their way through the pit lane system. So, about a second gap between Jaden and Fapster, the 2 Toyota drivers, currently running outside of the podium. And I believe everybody has pitted at this point. So it just sort of shows the rather large gap between them. We've got, what's that, a 12-second gap from 3rd to 4th. But Appleseeds is running pretty close. He's only 5 seconds down off the back of Fapster, so a pretty solid drive there. But the ones to really look out for is going to be Rio and Randy once again. There's only 2 seconds between those guys now, so it'll be interesting to see where they can be in a couple laps' time. As we saw how much quicker, well, I did anyway. Not sure about you guys if you're paying attention to the laps popping up. But Rio was about 2 seconds quicker that time round than Randy was. So maybe we'll see Rio catch up in the upcoming laps.
Well, as we look further up, Fapster, Jaden really getting quite close around turn 10.
He is indeed.
And we're going to see if they're going to start the rivalry again. I think it was Bahrain again where we saw... Was it Bahrain where they competed to each other and they ended up knocking each other out?
That is true. Assetto Drifter sets a new fastest lap for 120 flat. Not sure where these guys are going to be in perspective.
Fapster right behind, he's going too wide. That's on the straight. Rio and Randy have also overtaken. At the same time, Fapster goes way ahead of Jaden.
Is Jaden going to chuck it back down the inside? No, he's not. He's going to be playing the team game. So, Rio's got past Randy, who seems to be a couple corners, well, a couple seconds back now. As Jaden and Fapster are still pretty close. It'll be interesting to see if Jaden can catch back up to Fapster. Fapster's had the stronger single lap pace by the looking at the stats.
Oh,
as Fapster goes wide, makes contact with Jaden. That's not a first. Jaden's probably not going to be happy with that. It hurts me to commentate a team that's not working as a team. And of course it's these two guys, Boom Boom Crashy and Scam Crasher. Fucking hell. So, these two guys are probably the most crash prone and desperate in CRS history. And they're on the same team. They're less than a second apart at this point, so we know where this is going to go.
Well, we'll just have to see, and we might even see them actually working together for once, because we saw as turn 1, as Jaden just really backed out. I think it was Jaden. It was one of the two Toyotas really backed out from dive bombing, because their previous rounds where they've collided and they've lost positions, I'm guessing they really just don't want, and it'd be more beneficial to the team to just tailgate between each other. Well, not tailgate, but pick each other's draft up. Because otherwise, if they lose out, Adam Appleseeds could be right up behind them and probably taking both their positions.
Adam has dropped back to about 10 seconds now. There are two guys who are very close. Not sure if that's a lap car. It might be K-Man. Maybe the leaders are going past. But
yeah, that looks like it is.
But there are a couple guys pretty close. K-Man's pretty good in getting out of the way when being lapped. But since these guys are not particularly close at the moment, we will have a quick look at K-Man, see if he gets out of the way of a Cellar Drifter in adequate timing. Maybe a Cellar Drifter, no, he's not going to be able to use him as a draft down the straight as a Cellar Drifter goes around the outside. There's going to be about a 4-second gap between those two guys, but the Cellar Drifter's 3 tenths quicker that lap round. There's now only a 3-second gap.
One thing I didn't really realise was the Cellar Drifter's on softs now. It could be a copy of K-Man's strategy, just flipped over.
Could be the case where maybe he's running a medium. Not sure where he pit. I think he pitted about lap 14, didn't he? Something like that. So
he certainly pitted later.
So if that's the case, maybe he ran a stint of mediums at the start to think, just get them out of the way and put in some lap times consistent, which unfortunately wasn't the case due to other factors, which means that he's now running down in P3. So maybe he's going to be running a medium soft strategy. Of course, 2 stops are very liable in this series. And actually, by the looks of things, he's really pulling in blank in these middle stages of the race. Is blank on the medium tyre? We do not know. Adam is really dropping back a long way, and Spanner, to comment on something that you said earlier, I did not put Jaden and Fapster in the same team. It was a whole decision that them two decided that they wanted to be together, which I generally thought would be quite funny. That was the whole idea that I allowed them to be together. As the Cellar Drifter sets a new fastest lap of 119.6, he's ruled in 1.2 seconds that lap on blank. Just shows that the Cellar Drifter is the guy. If you give him the right car, give him the right tune, the right track, he can be the one to show everybody who's boss, which seems to be the case today, as he's now pulling in the leader as well. K2, he's got 14 laps with just over half race length at this point. He's got 14 laps to try and bring in K2, who I'm pretty sure is also on the soft tyre. Don't know if you can confirm that, Joseph, but that does seem to be the case. Jaden pits. Seems to have lost my co-commentator. I will check the... yeah.
Sorry about that.
He is back. Must have gone and got a coffee or something along those lines. Randy comes into the pit zone as well. As Rio and No Fridge are once again back at it, battling for position. There's now only half a second between those two.
Rather annoyingly for me, I can see everyone's tyres apart from second place. So Cellar Drifter is on the soft, but I cannot tell blank. And between the lap times, it's pretty difficult to tell with the Cellar Drifter setting a lap time a tenth quicker than blank.
Oh, Rio almost loses it. Brilliant save from Rio from around turn 9. Very, very solid bit of driving there from him, as Jaden's now coming up behind. Jaden must have done another pit stop to be in that position. I must have completely missed that, as he's now down in P8. I did say he was going to pit, but I had no idea where he came back out. Now, Jaden seems to be lapping a whole lot quicker than Rio. But is he going to have the single lap pace to catch up? Let's get eyes on Jaden then.
At the same time, we're going to have to sort of keep our eyes peeled on Assessor Drifter and Blank. They were just a second gap between them, but Assessor's just lost out a bit on time.
Blank does seem to finally be responding with his lap times. He was only 2 seconds, well, 2/10 of a second slower than him last time round. Maybe Assessor Drifter had a dodgy lap, but the two guys are looking very close on the minimap. But I don't particularly want to miss out on this battle either between Jaden and Rio. There's a whole lot going on. Randy is in the stream chat saying that he's fatigued and has decided to retire for the safety of other drivers. Thank you very much for running though, Randy. I really do appreciate it, and I'm glad that you're having fun and you put in some good laps. Rio makes a mistake coming out of turn 7, and that allows Jaden to sweep past on turn 8. And the Assessor Drifter comes into the pit lane. Blank's still out on the track. He's now 8.9 seconds off the lead of K2. He's only really a corner ahead. Let's get back with Rio and Jaden. Rio's definitely dropped off the back of Jaden at this point. But we all know the speed of Jaden. See if he can catch up to the back of No Fridge.
Assessor Drifter leaving the pits now. Not enough for Adam Appleseed to overtake. But Fabs is now up into 3rd. He's on medium tyres. I don't know what Assessor Drifter's come out on. Or still what compound Blank is on. No Fridge and Jaden both setting fastest laps. Jaden being 1 second quicker than No Fridge, so we won't see. It won't be too long until the overtake, or at least a battle will be happening.
We should
Jaden, of course, being a very talented driver, and No Fridge really going to be struggling on the controllers sometimes, as Jaden's probably going to barge his way past.
Knowing Jaden, that will most likely be the case, and if he's a second quicker a lap, we'll probably see him be right up the rear diffuser of No Fridge by the end of this lap. No Fridge has put in a very solid drive to be P6. Of course, I think No Fridge has pitted twice. He might have, he might not have, I can't 100% recall, but I know Jaden shouldn't be that far down the grid. So they're coming up onto the back of Appleseed now in the Williams. Very bad time for my internet. So Jaden's going to get 2 positions down a straight. Very solid bit of driving there. Adam's going to try hold it around the outside. It's not going to be the case. Can No Fridge now get him back on Apple?
Real lot of argy-bargy between Jaden and Appleseed. Appleseed almost looked like, from my perspective, trying to cut him off and just close the door. But No Fridge really now challenging Appleseed as he made a mistake. I'm not sure if the stream caught it. Adam Appleseed heading into the pit. That's a very late pit, especially considering he's on medium.
His tyres
There's about 10 laps left.
His tyres must have been completely shot, and that's why he was losing so much time. Which is a bit unfortunate, but maybe since we know that K2's on the softs, I believe No Fridge almost losing it. The very solid save there from him. Blank is round. Nobody's going to be able to take advantage of that. It's K2. As soon as I say that, K2 is in the pit lane. Maybe we'll see Blank through. Maybe we'll see Blank come in this lap. No, he's not going to. Blank is going to inherit the race lead from this as we just see K2 pull into his pit box. He might have overshot it. It may have looked like...
he did overshoot it.
Is that going to put him a lap down? Because, of course, that's how Assetto Corsa penalises you. If you overshoot your pit box, sometimes it puts you a lap down. He's coming out the pit lane now. We'll find out if it's... As he crosses over the blend line, that's going to be a 5-second penalty then for K2. Is Fapster into the pit lane as well. What's Assetto Drifter going to do? This is obviously the big second half of the race. Assetto Drifter's staying out. Is Fapster going to have... And that Fapster's just coming out now. It's going to be very close between these two coming out the pit lane, but I don't think Fapster's going to have it. Assetto Drifter flies by. That's up in a P3 for Assetto Drifter. Jaden's going to be pretty close. Is he going to be close enough? It's not going to be close enough. There's now a little bit more of a gap of about 1.5 seconds between them. So through that, Fapster's managed to pull half a second really over Jaden, as I think he was about a second up when they pitted. So a little bit of an undercut strategy from Fapster.
It's going to be interesting to see what everyone's strategy is. Not sure, as we'll have to wait till K2. Actually, no, we can't see what K2's on because he's in second. Blank into the pits though.
Blank comes into the pits then. That's going to lose his lead. Katie's definitely going to re-inherit it. I don't think a Stellar Drifter is going to be close enough. This could be Katie's race. As long as he keeps it together, a Stellar Drifter is going to be nowhere near Blank to get that lead back. Jaden's actually catching up to Fapster at this point. Of course, Jaden's got the fresher rubber. No, he hasn't. Fapster's got the fresher rubber. Fapster's obviously just got cold tyres then, or he's completely out the zone at this point. But the Toyota boys are back at it. They're going to bring us some quality stream action. And hopefully something interesting to commentate about. And maybe even, you know what would be very interesting if they crash? A third safety car. Because why not? If it bunches up the whole field, if there's a crash between them, we'll bring out the safety car for the laugh. Because if it brings everybody back together, what an intense last 8-9 laps these could be. We never know.
But we'll have to see what Jaden does, as it looks like he's sticking quite a way behind Fapster. Maybe just trying to get some clean air.
Could be the case. Maybe they are actually working for a team for once. Working as a team for once, we'll say. Spannerworks says don't ruin it, but I'm just thinking of the amazing streaming opportunities that we could have from this. That's not necessarily going to be the case. Of course, we'll only bring out the safety car if it is 100% necessary. So that's really 2 or 3 cars or more. But they are coming up to the back of a Stellar Drifter, actually. So there's going to be a big battle between 3rd, 4th and 5th, and if No Fridge can catch up, this will be a 4-way battle for 3rd position in the last remaining 8 laps.
So looking at tyre compounds again, I know I keep going over it, but it's such an important factor in this race. You can make or break it with strategy. K2 again onto softs. It may be that's going to be his tyre compound choice till the end of the race. The Stellar Drift is also on it, but it looks like he's losing time to both Toyotas, and they're both on medium. So they could be either worn and we could see him pitted soon, or he's just really not up to pace.
Unfortunately, Kitubitsu isn't actually in the race, Thomas, so we can't particularly focus on him at the time being. But the guys that we are going to focus on is Fapster, Jaden and the Stellar Drifter, who are now in an intense battle for 3rd position. Fapster's now all over the rear bumper of the Stellar Drifter, so there must be something wrong with the Stellar Drifter's car or tyres. He was going to look a little bit defensive. Fapster had a look for the inside. Knowing Jaden, he's just going to try and get past as soon as possible. So if there is a 3-way crash between these guys, Fapster runs wide and Jaden is into the back of Fapster. Should we just bring out the safety car?
No, it's only really a 1 car. It looks like Jaden that lost a little bit of time. That's going to be a big disappointment. No Fridge overtakes Fapster.
He does indeed. Fapster's probably got rather large rear aero damage from that. He's not going to be happy with Jaden. Maybe he'll move back to Force India. We'll see what happens, but I believe there is a space there now. But I know Fapster's not going to be happy with that. 2 races on the trot, he's had an incident with his teammate, which particularly doesn't surprise me. But I just know Fapster is not going to be happy with that whatsoever. They're supposed to be working as a team, and that's not what they're doing at the moment, which is unfortunate to see. But oh, Jaden's had a bit of karma. He's lost it on the inside curb. Nobody's going to be close enough to make a position back. Rio's now a lap down. Fapster managed to got...
No Fridge making a mistake on turn 2. Really looked like some of the turns with some severe grading is catching quite a few of the drivers out, if I can get my words correctly. Stellar Drifter must have been over the moon when that accident happened, but Jaden is really now capped. Wait, what happened? How's Jaden?
Jaden's been... he was in 6th, I believe, but then he took out Fapster, which brought him up the... well, he was in 6th, then something happened, and he took out Fapster. Now he's in 4th as the Stellar Drifter goes round. Mistake from him, maybe just too much pressure. What's Fapster going to be able to do with this? Is the Stellar Drifter going to get going quick enough? Fapster would have probably thought that Jaden's taken out a Stellar Drifter, so maybe there was some teamwork in his mind as the Stellar Drifter makes another mistake. Fapster chucks it down the inside from that. Is a Stellar Drifter going to come in the pits? Yes, he is. New tyres then for a Stellar Drifter with 6 laps to go. I reckon it's going to be another set of softs. That
would have been the set of softs which caused him to crash, because he's only been on softs. Well, he went on mediums for a moment throughout the race, but he's been on softs for quite a while, and that's probably what caused him to spin. But now, Jaden Fapster, it's going to be a pretty tight battle, as Fapster's really going to want that position back.
As they all come out the pits, then Adam Appleseed's going to take advantage of this, and that's going to chuck him out in P6. Don't know if he's going to have enough time to get ahead. Still 2 wheels on the inside of the line for a Acela Drifter, so no reason to worry there. Course, still a penalty. I believe it's for Jaden crossing all 4 wheels over the white line on pit exit. I believe it's Jaden. If you could clarify that, that would be ideal.
Oh, I cannot remember.
No worries. But we've got a nice little battle here for 5th position then, and maybe for 3rd as well, if Fapster can catch back up to Jaden. And if Nofridge can catch up to the back of these 2 guys, then maybe it'll be a freeway battle for 5th too. But we saw how quick Acela Drifter was on the fresh softs. Now it's all down to Appleseed to try and match that pace with 5 laps to go.
It's really going to be close. Just about 7/10 between Appleseed and the Acela Drifter. We'll have to see if Acela Drifter can really get into those tyres, get them warmed up and catch back up to both Fapster and Jaden. It's going to be really quite a task to accomplish. It's a 25-second gap between the next Toyota, and another 5-second gap to Jaden. Actually, Acela Drifter didn't even realise running super softs. He's going to be setting some blistering lap times.
Perhaps he's just going for the even quicker, fastest lap this time round. Super softs are only really good for about 4 laps, so this could come back at him. He might be around a lap short on tyres, but he's already got the fastest lap in the bag by a long way, but maybe he's worried about K2. He's going to have an ever-lightening car with the fuel load of these absolutely evaporating once you put your foot down. They use about 5 litres a lap around here. So maybe he's afraid of that. Of course, the Acela Drifter is going to have low fuel in these last remaining laps, and on those super softs, he should be able to set in some blistering lap times. He's already pulled 3 seconds on Appleseed in just over a lap, so we should see him maybe go even quicker, maybe even quali pace.
Jaden sets a 1:21.3, not the fastest lap, but it's still a personal best for him in the race. It's really going to see as well, we might be seeing people diving the pits last second if they haven't got enough fuel. They're making a small mistake in turn 2 there. But going back to the fuel, if you haven't quite dialed it in right, that could be it for you, and that would be another 30-second pit. And that will really be a race ruiner.
In the last corner, don't think he's going to affect anybody though, as he pulls to the inside. Now, Adam's got to deal with K2. Is he going to get out of the way in time? Or is there going to be a bit of complications? Doesn't seem to be the case. And lets him through nice and easily through the first corner. Now he's got Nofridge right behind him. Actually, Nofridge is pulling him in. And this will be for 6th position. Nofridge. Don't think Rio's really in the equation at the time being. I think he's about a corner down. Yes, he is. But Nofridge and Appleseed could be a nice little battle to watch with 3 laps to go. This is for 6th position, which is for 3 points, I believe. So, a fairly hefty amount of points compared to where Adam actually hasn't finished in the points at all this league so far. So this will be his first points finish, so he's going to want to hold on to those points as much as he can. But Nofridge and Rio are closing rapidly with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, it's rude to be the time now, is you don't want the fastest lap times, you just want the consistency. Is one mistake here could absolutely destroy what you've been doing for 40 minutes. And it's really going to be a lot of pressure on K2, not so much he's got a 20-second gap, but more pressure on Blank and Jake, as they've really they've got to keep themselves away from the people behind, especially with Acela being on most super Nofridge with the outstanding overtake on Adam Appleseed. We won't see Adam dive to the inside. Looks like Nofridge just had so much more speed through there.
He's running
a mistake from Adam.
Very low aero setup. He even got checked up at the chicane. He had to lock up all four wheels to not run into the back of Adam. And it just shows how quick that McLaren is running in a straight line. Absolutely amazing drive from Nofridge on a controller, taking up the P6. Now Adam's got 2 laps to hold off Rio, who's not far behind whatsoever at this point. That's the car in front that he's aiming for, that white BMW Sauber. He's got 2 laps to find what looks to be about 2 seconds, maybe a second and a half. Probably about a second and a half. Adam's pulled to the inside. Oh, that's Cayman, my bad. Adam's the next car up the road. But that still looks about 2 seconds. Nofridge span. Rio's going to go around the outside.
Cayman in the background. Yeah, Cayman spun in the background as well. Appleseed managing to take up those positions. Rio going a little bit wide. I wonder if he'd be served a penalty there.
There was no real point going for that overtake, as we know how quick that McLaren is in a straight line. He should have just stayed behind. That McLaren is going to be right with him, I reckon, by T1. Rio doesn't actually seem to be too slow in a straight line, but he's definitely pulling him in. Not going to be anywhere near as much as he was pulling in the BMW. But, oh, he's held it. Good save. But that's not what he needs to be doing. Now, Adam's just got 1 lap to hold on. Fapster's caught right up to Jaden though. There's only 4 seconds between those guys now. So if Jaden makes one mistake, that could be it. Fapster can see Jaden now. Jaden's made a mistake. Could this be another battle between the 2 Toyota boys with 1 lap to go? Well, 2 laps to go for them anyway.
Yeah, and I mean...
3 seconds quicker that time for Fapster.
Setup. It's just going to be, can Jaden hold on? Can he hold on with those tyres? Can he hold on with those driving skills? K2's coming pretty much onto turn 13, the chicane now. And that's going to be a very solid drive from him.
K2 with 1 lap to go. Jaden runs wide. Fapster's going to not hesitate to chuck it down the inside. Remember what Jaden's done to him, and Fapster manages to take up P3. So podium position then for Fapster at the time being. K2 then comes on to his final lap. There's 2 guys. Actually, don't worry about that. We don't actually have many cars running, I don't think, at the moment. Oh no, 2 were obscured by a crisp packet wrapper. Don't worry about that.
Fapster and Jaden so very close now. They were nose to tail. I was surprised they didn't spin each other off for a moment there, going through turn 7 and 8. Now building up a gap from Fapster. I think he's just got he's just slightly fresher tyres, and he might just have a lighter fuel load.
It could be the case, but with the leader now being on the final lap and Apple and Rio being a lap down, this is of course going to be their final lap as well. So Rio's got the remainder of this lap to try catch up to the back of Appleseed, but also defend off Nofridge, who's not also too far behind. You can see how much Rio's pushing that car, using up all of the track that he can. Rio's actually very close. Maybe give Rio pushing 1 more lap and he would have got him.
But it's not going to be enough as K2 comes round turn 14. Round turn 15, and it's going to be basically a flawless drive from him.
Flawless drive from K2.
It's going to be another victory.
Very good drive there from K2 to take victory. Rio and Appleseed must have had a manoeuvre as they were side by side coming out of the last corner. Well, our chicane, Rio chucks it around. That's going to be P5 for Stella Drifter, P6. What about Fapster and Jaden? They're still running very close too. It'll be interesting to see if Jaden is going to go for a suicidal manoeuvre in this last lap. They are the
last 2 cars running as K-Man comes across the finish line. That puts him in 9th. We're going to be watching very closely this turn 10. Turn 11, Jaden really getting quite close now.
Jaden's very close. Is he going to chuck it down the inside?
He's certainly looking.
He was having a look. He's made a mistake there, and that's probably going to be it. He must have had a slow town penalty. Yes, he did indeed. As Fapster comes round then.
But that's Fapster rounding out the podium. He's going to be definitely pleased. With Jaden behind, probably quite angry between the 2 drivers.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some tension. As Rio
But there we
disconnects
go.
off the server then. But a solid drive from everybody today. Some very good driving. We've seen some very good clean driving as well as some dirty bits too. Especially from Jaden. There will be some penalties issued, especially with the pit exit line. Some drivers really exiting before that even happened. Before the pit line even ended, I guess I should really say. So two Toyota guys are going to do pirouettes.
McLaren as well in no fridge. What an absolute shame from him. He drove exceptionally through the whole race, and I think just as he put on the softs for the last few laps, that's where he just lost it, and he jumped from, like, was he his fourth at one point, or was he fifth?
I think he was, yeah. Something like
and
that.
he's dropped down into eighth, which is an awful shame.
But it's still going to be points though.
It's still going to be points. Is that the first point for him? Not entirely sure. No, yes, still it's four. Yeah, so this will be point continuation as he is in what positions?
Why was K2 moaning about not winning a race? Didn't he win the last race? I don't know. Not sure about that one.
He did win that last one.
He won last race and he's... I don't know. We'll ignore that. I'm just filling out the spreadsheet at the moment. We're going to move on to the interviews now. Joseph, if you're alright, we'll primarily focus on with you interviewing them, so I'm going to fill out the spreadsheet and we can talk about that later on.
Right, okay.
Who would you like to bring in first?
Who would you bring in first?
Or Jaden?
Is Fapster there?
Fapster's there, he's got toe.
Ah.
Hello?
Fapster, well done on the podium, so how was that for you?
Very bumpy. A lot of crashes, and I spun 3 times.
Jaden spun you 3 times.
Oh, kinda. It's both our fault. But yeah, it's fine. My rear tires at the end were at 14%, and Jaden's were at 0. I think. So it's like you're just like sliding about. My foot, I was so nervous on my throttle that my foot was just bouncing up and down.
I mean, how are you and Jaden? How are you and Jaden feeling now that you've had quite a bit of contact, and that could really impact the results between you two?
No, it's fine. Considering that our pole position times are like closer to the Ferraris now, and they're getting closer by each race, I think we're on a good track. So I think if we were going to set up more, we can fight with them.
And I mean,
So,
how do you feel being the only contester as well to the Ferraris? You're just, what's that, 3.5 points behind Blank in the Ferrari, being third in the drivers' standing so far.
How far back am I from K2?
There's a bit of an issue with the spreadsheet, is someone put down, probably me when I was very tired, that K2 won the last race. Where did you come, K2, in Bahrain? Because
K2 didn't win the last race.
yeah, but where did he come?
I think, hold on, I have to look.
Oh dear. Well, apparently K2 won the last race and got fastest lap. He definitely got fastest lap, but he definitely didn't win. But we've got it on the sheet that he did win.
I think he came third because like Jaden and Blank had like a bumpy bump, and I think he came third. I'm not sure.
If you could clarify K2, he was second in Bahrain, so he gets... Yeah, he still gets 10.5. Yeah, no, he gets 10. Yeah,
Right.
He gets 10 points. Sorry about that. My bad. Something was obviously wrong in the head there.
Right. Well, anyway, how do you feel about going on to the next round at, I think that's Istanbul?
Oh, so we've had practice there a lot, so I think it'll be easier. But it's easy for like everyone, so I guess. I like the track. Something I can do.
And I think as the final question, unless Michael has any questions after me, I'll say this pretty much every round I speak to anyone from Toyota. Do you think you're going to be able to finally catch those Ferraris?
Yeah, I think I have a setup saved from like 3 months ago for this track. I have to try it out because I don't know how it will feel now because I've changed a lot. So I think it will be quick. Jaden was quick there by a lot, It was amazing. He was like 2 tenths behind Blank at that. And yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming and joining us for an interview. Unless Michael has any last questions.
No, that's about it. I think you covered everything that needed to be covered.
Right, well, thank you very much, and well done on the podium.
Right then, so next up, I reckon we should bring in Adam, as he had a very solid drive. Adam doing a very solid performance, bringing him back into 6th position, I believe you ended up finishing. So your first point positions. First point positions for this league, so how do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good, honestly, about it. It's about time we got some positions for the BMW Sauber there. I'm really happy to be able to bring us up on the overall leaderboard there a little bit. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I say it's really satisfying too, seeing the hard work I put in throughout the race, stay focused, and really stick with the strategies. Big shout out to my boy Eric Durace for being there with me in the call and stuff like that, and be able to help me out with strategies and whatnot. But we worked well together, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you feel about the safety cars? Because I think you got up into 2nd there.
You were up into 2nd, weren't you?
Yeah, a bit of a misunderstanding on my end of whether or not the safety car rules applied yet. I'll fully honest, I'm totally accountable for that. Yeah, I did pass, I believe it was a settled drifter there by accident, and he did take back the position. I let him take it back. I mean, that was my fault.
Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling now that you're really keeping up with the rest of the field?
Well,
do you reckon you can start battling quite a lot of the others now?
I mean, you know, I'm really happy about it. It means I could also have more action going on in the races. It goes to show that if I prepare a little more, you know, I could really do anything when it comes to trying to be able to keep up in these races and perform well overall. So, I mean, it goes to show that I do have the capabilities to be able to drive with the others, you know.
Yeah, I mean, are you looking forward to Istanbul next week?
Yeah, for sure I am. It'll depend on whether or not I can make it, I believe. I have other scheduled things, but I think that's something we'll talk about later. But for sure, whether I'm going or I watch it, I'm really excited about that,
yeah. Any other questions from Micro?
Istanbul is, of course, the track where we all learnt to drive a similar spec car. So, coming into that, do you feel that you've sort of got an advantage over some of the drivers who didn't attend the initial qualifier?
I would say for sure, yeah. I mean, like, you really got to learn all the different braking points and stuff like that track. I mean, I'll be honest, a lot of the tracks I have to learn from fresh every single time, but Istanbul, at least I could see that for sure being a really good advantage with the amount of knowledge I would have of it. So hopefully, yeah, that will be able to play there, come into play there.
So, of course, we have got about 5 or 6 new drivers, and with the usual attendance of that could, of course, put you back into another points position.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the lack of drivers today for sure helped me out, I'd say, but I like to also attribute to at least my own performance getting better and that in combination.
You definitely did a very solid drive today, Adam, so good job.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right then, so next up, I reckon we should bring in... Mate, who do you reckon? Who does the stream want?
We could probably see Jaden.
Jaden, good old bit of Jaden. Who doesn't like Jaden? Nobody except Fapster probably doesn't like Jaden at the moment. After some more boom boom crashy between the Toyota boys. What happened, Jaden?
Apparently, no, Fapster contested that it wasn't. It didn't really help my hit, or because he followed a Stellar Drifter and he was about to spin anyways. So and then I think I was trying to follow them and I went wide too.
Oh no! How unfortunate!
But with bad luck, I was a nice boy and I let him by because A, I was on the worst tires, and B, he was catching my MC because he sort of deserves it because I smushed him anyways.
One other thing, Jaden, to talk about. You were also naughty on the pit exit, weren't you?
Wait, I don't actually remember.
That's unfortunate, because that'll probably be a 5-second penalty. Not sure. I don't think it actually affects the... Oh god, he's trying to contradict it. No, just accept it. I don't think it actually affects you anyway. No, it wouldn't affect you, so...
Yeah, you
Jaden
I-
needs to
I
be a
think about
politician.
about halfway through, you just sort of like your merging was quite interesting. You just sort of like
Yeah,
you
you
didn't
were
wait for
sticking
the
in
end of the
it,
pit
and then you thought,
entrance.
right,
You just
I'm going on racing line.
Wait, I legitimately can't remember.
I think it was you. If not,
I can't.
we'll just say it was you anyway.
Yeah, I've got the replay right up. So.
Oh,
Oh, I see. I forgot.
Oh,
you
yeah.
forgot. Oh yeah.
I got a screenshot. I didn't think I even realized I did it.
It's
Uh-huh.
it's really long, isn't it? The pit line is really long. It's almost so long to the fact that you can't resist being inside it anymore. Is that what happened, Jaden?
I don't know. It's like I sort of just got a teeny bit wide. I think I went a teeny bit wider in practice just to get a little bit of a better line, but then.
Alright.
But then I think either way, I sort of oofed myself because the first pit I just spat into the pit. I was like, "Oh, right, all right, I'm pitting for mediums now." Apparently.
Oh dear. Well, it sounds like you had fun, Jaden. So glad you did.
It was chaos. It's not the best race, but it's just some memorable moments at least.
I think we should just all buy PlayStation 2s and get wacky races and just play it on party play. Because that seems to be what CRS really is, isn't it? It's just wacky races.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, I'm glad you had fun, Jaden, and a pretty solid drive to bring it home in fourth. I think you came fourth, didn't you? I think.
Yeah, fourth.
Yeah, good drive from you, Jaden. Shame about what happened with your teammate again, but let's not bring that into Istanbul, yeah? Let's do some teamwork driving.
I'm not actually sure if I'm able to be here for the next round because I might be off somewhere else.
Oh.
Are you off revising teamwork?
No, he's off revising English.
English.
A star.
Fun fact: I don't actually know. There's no other language I know to speak than English. Even animation.
I'm not going to talk about on the stream because I'll probably get reported for racial abuse and dogs. I don't know.
Dogs.
Or if you just what do you feel about this, Max? Maxed, Jaden.
What?
Max has just signed for the Demolition Derby. Now,
Of course he has.
would you like to smash up Maxed by signing up to the Demolition Derby?
I'm playing.
Likely, if I'm able to.
It's
Yes,
now
I
or
will.
later. Oh, here comes Jaden. Boom, boom, crashy, and it's legit. Right, thank you, Jaden, for your interview. Sorry
Thank
that we
you.
got a little bit sidetracked. And we shall move on to the next person, which will most likely be... Let's go with a Cello Drifter.
Yeah.
The Cello Drifter, of course, he had a fairly positive opening start to the race, running around P3 at one point. What happened in your eyes?
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't blame it on the game. The strategy was fucked, and I ran like 20 laps on the softs, which was obviously too much. Yeah, that's basically...
Little bit too much, yeah.
Little bit. Then I spun. I didn't know if you saw that.
Maybe.
Well, I spun. And then... well, I went back to pits, and the game decided to put a full tank of fuel in my car.
Ooh,
And
lovely.
yeah, there was... Yeah. And then I ran like 21s the rest of the race with super softs, which obviously was not intended.
Well, at least you managed to get fastest lap out of it. That's another 2 points in the bag. So
Yeah, that was true.
I reckon you'll be pretty happy with that. I've still got to
Yeah.
sort out the team points, but if I actually rearrange it now, you're definitely going to be higher up in the grid. You actually... Not sure why that's saying error in reference. Oh, wait, what? Right. It actually moves you up to 9th in the championship with that result.
Hey.
So you're still behind me, and I haven't shown for 3 rounds. Oh dear, but a very, very solid performance from you, mate. Really good.
Cool.
It's just what happens sometimes, isn't it? You're really good at some tracks.
It's fucked, honestly. At least the game didn't crash
Yeah, that's true. At least your game didn't crash.
or freeze like
Yeah.
88 every time.
Oh dear. But no, you had a really solid drive, mate. Really good.
Thank.
You gonna win in Istanbul, yeah? Pole
Hopefully.
again? Pole position, win it?
I don't know the track, so
What do
probably
you mean
not.
you don't know the track? Did the qualifier there?
What?
The qualifier event.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, that qualifier event that you completely did that I made you do so you could get into this league. Not because I just know you and I knew that you're quick enough anyway, so I just let you in. That one, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. Right, thank you very much, Assetto Drifter. We got one more interview to do.
Thank you.
With no fridge, and I've been talking too much again, so you can do this one.
Oh no, it's alright. You're much better at this than I am.
So then, no
No
fridge. Oh god. Right, Joseph, you go for it, man.
Okay, so a pretty exceptional performance from you this race. I mean, how do you feel throughout it? Because I mean, you were running pretty high up early in the race, and you just seemed to drop down into eighth. I mean, what happened?
Well, I guess the pressure got the best of me, and I made a few very silly mistakes of just too much throttle and spinning out. Eventually, in midpoint race, I think it was, I crashed badly and I got wing damage and left side pod. But yeah, I managed to keep up the pace afterwards. And
Yeah, I mean, do you think softs was the right idea to go on for the final laps? Do you reckon you could have just kept it on medium?
the tires I was on before I pitted the second time were really, really worn, so there was no way that I could have finished the race on them. And that was my strategy from the beginning. Start with mediums, keep up with mediums, see how that goes, and eventually, as it turned out to be the case, we'll move on to softs so I can try to push harder in the last laps.
And I mean, you had some pretty good battles throughout the race. I think it was with Rio and Randy, if I'm right. Do you think they're all entirely clean, or do you think there's a bit of a sort of like an elbow out as they tried to go past you?
Well, I don't know how it looked on your screens, but from my perspective, they looked all clean. I didn't really see much incidents or like touches, even slight touches with the guys. So I don't know if it was something of me or the netcode. There was one battle in particular at the end of the race, near the end of the race with Adam. I was pretty happy the moment I overtook him because the whole weekend I've been running. I don't know if that was a risky move or not. I had been running with quite low aero, which meant that I would have quite a lot of top speed.
You were definitely a lot quicker in a straight line, weren't you, than the BMW? I saw how much you pulled him in.
Yeah, and the moment I saw that I will, and I knew that I will overtake him, just come the straight. And I sat behind him for the last few corners. And then when the straight came, I just launched it with the slipstream and stuff. And that made the whole practice sessions and the whole weekend just worth it.
Well,
then a few corners
so
later.
that you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Sorry, what?
Are you looking forward to Istanbul? Do you reckon you've got that nailed down, or is that going to be another challenge for you?
Oh, that's definitely gonna be a challenge because it's different in terms of setup and yeah, it's a whole different track. I mean, a brand new setup should be on the way, so that's gonna be pretty hard. But I don't know. We will see how things will go.
Anything from you, Micro?
Not particularly, no. I think you covered everything that was of major importance. So thank you very much for your time, No Fridge.
No problem, thanks.
We shall probably end off the stream here, so thank you all very much for coming out, and thank you to Joseph for streaming with me and being an excellent commentator as per usual.
Oh, thank you.
And that'll most likely be it, so we'll see you all next Saturday for round 6, which is going to be Istanbul. Goodbye.
To the sky from the bottom, living up the dreams that I've all came true. Now I'm trying to reach to the